Welcome back to the program. Let's switch gears now and hear the other side of the argument, where the analysis is not particularly rosy about the Tinubu years in power. It's been 2 years already. Let's bring in our next guest. He's a former Minister of Youth and Sports. Barrister Solomon Dalung is joining us for this part of the conversation. Barrister, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by this evening.
It's a pleasure inviting me on this very great day.
Right. First of all, your opinion about the performance of the Tinubu administration is public knowledge. You think the performance is below average. A lot of people would say that that is discounting the sort of economy the Tinubu administration has inherited. Would you say that your analysis in terms of the performance of the Tinubu administration is based on objective facts on the ground, or is it just partisan?
Well, when you discuss your country, you try as much as possible as a statesman to downplay partisanship, because you place priority of the citizenship and you look at the country. And so whatever opinions I hold is driven by the objective reality, and it's intended to try to spur off the government and the president to review whatever policies they have put in place for the purpose of the benefits of Nigerians. So I think where we have problems basically with people in government is that they considered opinions which in democratic climes are solicited and paid for as consultancy, as opposition to government, and they discountenance it, which is very, very instrumental. So the government had done poorly, to be very honest, because by this time we should have been harvesting the fruits of whatever transformation policies the government had put in place. But you can see from all the sectors, whether the economy, whether security, the foreign policy, all aggregated together seems not to give us a clear direction as to where we're heading to. And I think 2 years in office, at least, would have started seeing the policy sprouting some gains, even as painful as we are made to believe that that is the right way to go. Even though as a person, I had never believed that the president's transformative route is the best in the circumstance. And
when you listen to the president, his statement was very much alluding to the fact that we're almost there, right? That, you know, the journey has been painful, but we're getting there. Have you seen anything in that statement that suggests that, you know, they're actually trying to convince Nigerians about the buy-in that is needed for Nigerians to believe in this renewed hope agenda?
Now, the president is just hopeful and prayerful, but we have not even started. That's the honest truth.
Even with the data they've shared about everything that they've done so far?
Well, if you take a look at the data, let's single out one aspect. The government said, oh, they've made much revenues from the withdrawal of subsidy. They also have a profile of heavy borrowings. And then you now aggregate this and look at the indices of development or progress. You realize that all the indices are in red. Inflation, galloping inflation, between 35%.
I mean, it's marginally down now.
You'll be well, marginally. These are statistics being touted all about. If you look at insecurity, we have a very high number of terrorists that have been disseminated, and we have a higher number of terrorists that have resurfaced and have even threatened and taken over territories again. So the more they are killed, the more they multiply. Borno, which was quietly safe after President Buhari had recovered the 21 or so local governments, today the governor is in distress, crying that most of the local governments are falling back again into the hands of the terrorists. And then you have the security approach to the banditry and kidnapping in the northwest, where I have a grouch about, the military approach to it, because they announced, oh, we are going to Zamfara to flush out the terrorists. And we know that the terrorists have forests in neighboring states. So the announcement, I don't know whether it's intended to help them relocate to neighboring states. Then they will go there and bomb empty spaces. And then the next time again, you will have terrorist kingpins surging and making statements and threatening, more threatening. So to be honestly with Mr. President, is that his policies have not yet started yielding the desired fruits. He could have statistics from experts. But you know what a president in Nigeria needs is somebody who can look at him in the face and tell him the truth. Buhari had the benefit of that in his first 4 years, where I could meet him and say, Mr. President, we campaigned, Nigerians contributed money and gave us. Are Nigerians smiling?
You saw the APC National Summit where some of the ministers came, reeled out their facts and figures about their scorecard. Are you implying that his ministers are not necessarily 100% honest with him about what's actually happening on the ground?
Let me speak to the president as a patriot. The ministers are dishonest. I've been a minister, so I have a very good knowledge of how the government ministry is managed and progress of how you can record progress in the government ministry. Most of the things the ministers roll out, you can never verify them in real terms. So they are just mere statistics generated on paper.
You're not suggesting that they're lying to their boss in front of the nation on live TV?
No, they have done that so many times. His official does that regularly with him.
Lie to him?
Yes, they mislead him. Let me use a more decent word. They mislead him. Because let me give an example of what the National Security Advisor did. The National Security Advisor went before the National Council of State, where you have elder statements, former head of state, chief justices, president of Senate, gathered. And he told them that the bad governance protest was sponsored by foreign countries. And they have arrested terrorists. And they are in custody. And Nigerians were waiting to see the terrorists sponsored by foreign country in court. And everybody was embarrassed and disappointed, including the judge who abandoned her seat and run into her chambers because underage children, malnourished staff were presented in court as terrorists. So this is the evidence of how they have been misleading the president. So these statistics they have been flaunting, none of the statistics is realistic. But let me tell you one of the things that the president has done, which we may hear from me. The road from Jos to Abuja, in the past 3 months, FEMA had mended the road, and you can travel from Abuja to Jos with ease, against when you will spend 5 hours from here to Abuja. So you are now hearing a scorecard now from a toxic mouth. You will believe it. But all those things they are saying is story. If they have done anything, you know I will say it.
I mean, the Minister of Works said there are 440 ongoing road projects, including 2,700 kilometers of superhighways. You're saying that these are not verifiable facts that Nigerians can actually touch and feel? It's infrastructure.
Yes, in recent times, I have been traveling across Nigeria, and I've been traveling by road. In fact, in the last 5-6 days, I was traversing from here to Ondo, Akure Ondo, Akure Lagos, and I went to Port Harcourt by air, came back, and then I've traveled from Ondo to Abuja. I've also been in the North Central, where we had all these problems in Benue. You see, what I saw in most places about what they are saying is contractors. There are contractors in some sites that have been mobilized. But it has just been motion without action. Because some of the contractors that I passed, let me give an example. The dualization of Ore on Do Road is still, since 4 months ago, is still not up to 2 kilometers. Just 2 kilometers. They are still stationary. So some of these things they tell the president is they get pictures of this mobilization and continue to present as performance, but they indeed do not reflect the budgetary expenditure of the various ministries on this project.
Yeah, but when you consider that some of these road constructions are being built for commissioning by the president, I mean, isn't that, I mean, surely the president is not going to go to an unfinished road project to commission them, right? Is there not a chance that you're maybe oversimplifying or exaggerating, you know, what's actually happening on the ground?
They may take the president to commission Lagos to Ibadan, a project which started during Jonathan, but suffered this same fate. Buhari came, a lot of money were sunk into it. In fact, I can remember how many times I voted in council for money for this same project. But as at the last time I was on that road, which is about 3 or 4 days ago, it has not been completed. So it may be one of the roads they will try to link up and take the president there for commissioning. But I don't know where they are going to take the president, except maybe past projects. Or they can take the president to go and commission Buharis, Akwanga, Makodi road to go and commission, because it's commissioning. And they will tell the president, no, when we came in, Buhari did not do anything, we completed this. And of course, they did not give the president an initial report of the state of the road before commissioning. And the president is looking for something to present to Nigerians midterm, more so that they have ignited the machinery of campaign.
Right. So some have pointed at, you know, opposition figures like you of politically charging the polity by talking about, you know, opposition politics in terms of coalition, in terms of 2027, and we're still some way, you know, there's a lot of time before 2027 and the political campaigns are not officially on yet. That you're part of the distraction that the administration has to deal with because of everything you're doing on the other side, all the noise you're making with your coalition moves and everything other than that. Do you think the opposition figures like you, for instance, should take responsibility for the overcharged political atmosphere in the country right now?
No, I think, honestly, Mr. President blew the whistle and we heard it. So we realized that, oh, the game has started. So blaming us will not be fair. The president celebrating his 1 year in office, there were billboards mounted in Eagle Square and in Abuja, everywhere. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2027. Posters all over. So the opposition, when we were conducting ourselves within the rules, so when we saw this, we said, okay, well, we cannot join the president to continue to break the rule. So most of the activities of the opposition is nocturnal and is conducted in secrecy. That's why it is underrated and underestimated. Because
I mean, until recently, you've been having so many of these public events.
The recent one is firing blank fire, blank ammo, sorry. You understand me? Because the president has intensified his own by, endorsement. Almost everybody has endorsed the president. Maybe I will be organizing the comrades will also go and endorse him because and then we get all the imams, all the traditionalists, all the pastors. So we endorse our president for 2027. But the endorsement does not mean that I will support him in 2027. We're only endorsing him to occupy the ticket, which will make it easy for us to defeat him.
You think President Tinubu is going to be an easy target for you in
No, we're not.
2027?
Actually, the president does not even have a problem with the political class. It doesn't.
Who does he
The
have a problem
problem
with?
of the president is with the Nigerian people. This is the first time in over 6 decades of my existence that I could see a president drawing a battle line with the poor. Even the military didn't do this. So it's not with the political class. You know why all these coalition things we are hearing? They are just trying to organize themselves so that they can serve the country. Because if the poor would be allowed to continue with this hunger, poverty, and hardship, it's going to explode. And when it will explode, it's going to consume everybody. But you see, the coalition now is giving some succor of hope to the poor. So the poor are saying, okay, the coalition is coming, we may have a change. So they are helping the president douse the political tension. Otherwise, I'm telling you, the country would have exploded.
Some would say that people like you are making the political atmosphere rather toxic by giving the administration a bad name so that Nigerians can feel emotional about what they need to do on election day. That people have seen your political track records and everything. I mean, some of the key figures that have been touted on the coalition side are people that are well known to Nigerians, for instance, who the president has defeated in past elections. That this whole thing is just, politics 101, right? Make your opposition look bad and make yourself look like the savior of the situation. Isn't that a fair assessment of what's actually happening right now?
No, it's the president that opened his underbelly for everybody to see his weakness. It's not even the opposition. If the opposition are doing the job of the opposition, the political atmosphere would have been more toxic than what we're dealing with. That's why you can hear people saying the opposition is not doing much. The toxicity is instigated from within the president's camp. The president had done something which, if he's listening to me or any of his honest aides will allow him to hear what I'm saying, he will understand. His greatest undoing is to make himself at a Christmas of appointment. There is no week that is not appointing people. And there is no week that is not creating an agency. National Agency for the Organization of Market Women. National this. Every week is appointing people. So those looking for appointment are the ones who are now throwing political tear gas in the house so that the president can appoint them. And then they are busy throwing tear gas, but shouting and pointing at the opposition. Oh, the opposition is charging the distance. They're very very people. But the opposition has not been doing enough, because if the opposition had been doing enough, the champion of protest in Nigeria is the president. Why have they not given him the same dose? He led protests as late as 2012. He was on the street. We were on the street with him against Jonathan for the withdrawal of fuel subsidy. And he referred to it as satanic. Why will he turn around now on the 29th of May, 2023, to say it's a courageous move? Something satanic, and you will be courageous? Something is not adding up. So this opposition should blame themselves. But the toxicity, in all honesty, is not from us. In fact, we have been conducting ourselves in a manner such that, for me, I want the president to walk and stumble on his own trap. Don't want to help him. And the opposition don't want to help him. So those who are going to bring him down are those who are defecting. Because they are only defecting alone. Nobody is accompanying them.
You think it's superficial?
It's highly superficial. The governor of Delta, they come alone with his commissioners. When his mentor attempted to mobilize women in his village, they told him, you have go alone. So most of these people defecting, right, they will defect with their commissioners.
All right. In the final analysis, your quick one before we wrap things up. What is your honest-to-God assessment of the performance, if you have to rate it from 1 to 10?
I will give the president 3.
3 over 10?
Yes, 3 over 10.
Even though it's just 2 out of 4 years?
Yes, I will give him 3 over 10, because I mean, I mentioned one of the things he did, like the Jos Road, and then his bold step of taking the issue of the local government to the Supreme Court, even though at the end of the day he could not stamp his feet for it to be enforced. I'll give him 3, at least. Yeah, he required not more than 3/10.
Okay. And on that note, Barrister Solomon Dalung, thank you so much for the analysis and thank you so much for stopping by tonight.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you very much for your
You're
insight.
welcome.
All right, and with that, we wrap things up for tonight's edition of the program. Thank you most kindly for joining us on Daily Politics. We'll be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time and good night.